yes button looks much nicer than the no button. Another thing we're doing here, right? We have this, we have a bit of text here that says, yes, I want to have a rapidly growing, super profitable mailing list for my business. Well, we're using language here that is basically, we're using benefit-laden language, right? And on the no button, we say, no, I'd rather keep struggling instead of doing things the easy way. So what we want to trigger here is the fear of, is loss aversion, right? It's called loss aversion. It's another psychological term, which is that we are more motivated to avoid losses than we are to pursue gains, right? So basically, the pain of losing $10 is a greater emotional spike than the joy of finding $10, all right? And so we are more motivated to avoid losing $10 than we are to try and find $10. That's loss aversion. And so that's what we're using with the text here. And again, if someone clicks on no, it closes the lightbox. If someone clicks on yes, that takes them to the opt-in form without reloading, without refreshing, without waiting. That's very important, right? So that's a very effective thing to do. But you can take this a step further. And also, by the way, so this uses the commitment bias. It triggers loss aversion. And it is also something that helps it helps your visitor kind of baby step their way onto the list, right? It's like whenever you can break something down into smaller steps, it usually helps people overcome their objections and overcome their doubts. So that's one of the reasons why this can work very well. Now, here's another one you can take this a step further. So here, again, we have a multiple choice opt-in form that is presenting two choices, but you as the owner of the mailing list win no matter which choice is being made. So here it says, join our free interactive programming course, choose the skill level that suits you, beginner or intermediate, all right? And each of these buttons opens a different opt-in form. So the beginner opt-in form says, okay, cool, sign up here to start our beginner course. And the intermediate button opens another opt-in form that says, cool, sign up here to take our test to evaluate your level and then take the next step from there, right? And in either case, the user is asked to opt into your list. Now, this comes with so many advantages. So first of all, this is one of the most old school sales techniques out there, okay? This is as old as selling. A very simple trick where instead of giving your prospect a yes or no choice, instead of saying, well, do you want this or not, making it very easy for them to choose the no option, instead of that, you say, well, would you rather have this one or that one? And as simple as that sounds, that can be very, very effective and something that salespeople have used to their advantage for 100 years or more. And here it is in an opt-in form. It's super, super good technique. In addition to this goes beyond the opt-in form, because what you're doing here is you're making your visitors self-segment onto different lists, all right? So, and the beginner and intermediate example is one that applies to most markets, right? Think of whatever market you're operating in. I'm sure that in your audience, in your crowd, one of the important separations that you see in that crowd is that some people are completely new to it. They're just beginning and they need different kind of content. They need different kind of stuff than people who are already, they've been around the block, they're veterans and so on. And that's true in pretty much every market, right? Some people are just beginning. Some people have been doing this for a long time, and these are usually quite distinct markets, right? They respond to different messages, they buy different products, they're interested in different things, even though they're in the exact same market. And this is a great way to separate people into specific lists. And the benefit of having these separated lists is that you can market to them so much more effectively, okay? This is incredibly, this is one of the 10x leaps you can make. If you have one mailing list, like one bucket with everyone in it, in your audience, this is one of the 10x things you can do, like to take your business to the next level, is to make your visitors segment themselves and then do targeted marketing based on those segments. So at first glance, the multiple choice opt-in may seem simple, And if you see multiple choice opt-ins in the wild, you'll see that almost everyone does the first version I showed you, like the yes or no choice, right? And almost no one is taking advantage of this, which is where the real magic happens. So that is, and I hope you can see now I'm so excited about this, and that is an example of, real next generation list building, because very few people are doing this, and the ones that are killing it. All right. Are you starting to see the underlying principles here? So I've tried to go fast through a lot of examples that are of what's happening right now. I hope you are starting to see some of the underlying principles of how this works, right? So we're seeing that the superstar list builders out there are mixing and matching different tools, right? They're going far beyond the just idea, because this is, and I've mentioned this before, I know, but I'm repeating this because this is so important, because a lot of people think, oh, I don't need this. I already do list building because I have a squeeze page and I have the opt-in form on my site, and I use a lightbox pop-up form. I'm doing list building. I don't need anything else. But the superstar list builders, the people whose lists are growing 10 times faster, are going way beyond just, oh, I have an opt-in form, I have an offer, right? They're going way beyond that. And they're employing these different strategies. They're employing psychology to really make this work for themselves. But now, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff to take in. And I hope you do take this in. I hope you took some notes and you can start trying some of this stuff on your site. But I want to make it as simple and as actionable as possible for you, okay? And the most spectacularly awesome strategies you can employ are actually coming now, all right? Because now I want to talk about this 3-step system where you can take your list building to the next generation with 3 steps, okay? And I've spent a lot of time studying this and working on this and so on. This is how I break it all down into the most practical and the highest leverage things that you can do right away to build your list faster, all right? So 3 steps. So step number 1, relevance, okay? Relevance, such a small word that is so important. Let's look at this. If we quickly go back to this, the evolution, right, from RSS feed to sign up to my newsletter to get this free report and sign up to my newsletter. One of the things that's happening between the newsletter offer and the opt-in incentive offer is that the offer itself is getting more attractive. Because if your opt-in offer is get on my newsletter, you're basically saying what you're offering is I'm going to send you emails. And most people don't have a desperate need for more emails, right? Most people don't want more emails. And so you're making the offer more attractive by saying, well, I have this cool free report or this 4-day course or whatever, and you get that if you join my newsletter. That makes the offer more attractive, and that's why it makes a big, big difference to conversion rates. Now, let's see, how can we make the offer even more attractive, right? That's one of the next steps we can take. So let's have a quick look at the anatomy of an opt-in form. Whenever you get someone's email address, something that will look like this, whether that's a squeeze page or a sidebar opt-in or a post footer or a lightbox or a script or whatever, it will look something like this. You have an opt-in form with some copy, right? With some text that explains what someone can get, right? You have the design component. What does the whole thing look like? What fonts do you choose? What colors? What images are you showing? And so on. That's also something that matters for conversions. Then we have the form itself and the button. And again, we have like a design component, the text on the button and so on. Those are things that matter in making the form effective. And then we have the offer itself. And the offer itself is, your free report, your bonus video, whatever it is that you're offering and how that's presented. Now, from all these things, the most important thing in terms of how do you get more people to sign up, the most important part here is the offer, okay? The thing that you're offering itself. So, as a typical example, if you can make an offer that is just the most mouth-wateringly delicious offer that your audience has ever heard of, and your opt-in form looks a bit shabby and the button is misaligned or something, people will still sign up in droves. Whereas if you have an offer that no one wants, you can have the most beautiful opt-in form ever and nobody will sign up, right? So we're talking about in terms of leverage, right? Where do you want to make the change to increase your opt-in rate? The offer is where you want to make that change. So then the question is, well, what makes a good offer, right? If the key to getting a ton of people to sign up to your mailing list is a good offer, what makes a good offer? This is something we could talk about at length, but the one thing I want you to take away here, it can be broken down into one single word. And that word is relevance, all right? Now, what does that mean? So basically, if your offer is more relevant to your visitor, to where they are right now and what they're interested in, then it's going to be more effective, all right? And to give you an example of how important this is, relevance is the very thing that Google and Facebook are built on. And more specifically, the fortunes of Google and Facebook are built on relevance, because this is how important relevance is, right? The reason advertisers pay billions upon billions upon billions of dollars to Google and Facebook is because those are two platforms that not only let them reach people, but let them reach very specific people, like very specific subgroups of people, and show them a relevant message, right? That is the real power of advertising on Google or advertising on Facebook. You can pick exactly who will see your message, which means you can make your message ultra relevant to those people. And that is why this advertising is so powerful, right? And that's why it makes these websites so much money. So that's the importance of relevance. So how does that translate to you generating opt-ins on your website? Let me give you an actual strategy to follow here, okay? Level 1, okay, relevance level 1 is you create a good offer that you show on your entire website. This is what I call the catch-all offer, okay? So this is like my free report for blah, 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 right? And it's just something that you know, generally people in your market are interested in. So if you have a fitness website, for example, your catch-all offer could be something like, the 10 best exercises to get six-pack abs, because you know that a lot of people in the fitness space are interested in getting six-pack abs. Okay, it's a very common thing. And that could be your catch-all offer. That's what you show everywhere. By the way, while we're talking about this, the winning formula for this kind of offer to make, for your free report, for your bonus video, whatever, is keep it short and practical. And I just want to mention this because I've also, there are exceptions to this rule, of course, but in general, what people respond to is something that gives them the impression that they can easily consume it. So if you say, sign up to get for free my 10 exercise cheat sheet with the 10 most effective exercises to get six-pack abs, that's something where, okay, it's a cheat sheet, it's 10 things, that's easy to consume, right? I can download it, take a look at it, get some value out of it right away. If you say, sign up to download my 500-page six-pack abs Bible, that will generally create a lower response. So fewer people will sign up for that, which seems weird because it's like you're offering more value. It's like, oh my God, everything you've ever wanted to know about six-pack abs all in one huge book. But the problem with that is, even though there's more value in it, it also requires more of an investment to read a 500-page book, right? And most people just go, well, I don't have time for that right now, and then they don't opt in. So that's just like a side note. Keep your opt-in offers short and practical. Anyway, that's level 1. You have one offer, you show that everywhere. That is the lowest level of relevance, all right? You show everyone the same thing. Level 2, you start modifying that offer, or you create different offers to target specific visitor segments on your website, all right? And let me show you again, real examples. Let me show a real example. If you go to my I Am Impact website and you look at a post that is related to blogging, like this post about blog comments, you will see an opt-in offer that looks like this, right? It says 4 steps to a dramatically better blog, blah, 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 sign up to get the course, okay? So you're looking at a post that is about blogging and you see an offer for a course about blogging, all right? On the same website, if you look at a post about video marketing, like this one, you will see an offer that says, discover the exact video tools I use. And so here, this is what I mean by create different offers and target different segments on your site. So in my case, on this website, depending on which category of post you're looking at, you will see different offers. Because if you're currently looking at the post about how to create a high converting sales video, you're probably more interested in knowing what video tools I use than you are in learning about the 4-step blogging strategy. Okay. And if you look at a product creation related blog post, you're probably more interested in my story about how I created my first product and the strategies I use for that than you are in my video tools. And so based on this, based on which content you're looking at, you see different offers. All right. And this is very, very powerful because that's one of the brilliant things. Look, but by the very fact of, knowing where someone is on your website and knowing what kind of content they're looking at, people are telling you something about where they're at, and they're telling you something about what interests them. And you can use this to your advantage. And even doing this makes a huge difference. It's hard to understate how much of a difference this makes, okay? This makes a huge difference. All right. Next, level 3. Okay, to take that to the next level and make your offers even more relevant, that would be the content upgrade. And you maybe heard about content upgrades before. And the content upgrade, there the idea is to make an offer that is matched to one specific post, right? So you have a blog post and you have an opt-in offer, like a free report or something, that is made specifically just for that post. So that is ultra relevant, okay? You look at someone who's reading through that post and you make something that is specifically made for them. In fact, sometimes this can be really simple. Sometimes you can just have something like download the PDF version of this post, right? Or download the PDF summary of this video or something like that. Can be quite an effective content upgrade. But it's even better if you actually offer bonus value that goes beyond what's in the post. So again, I brought the example before, and this is something you can use here, where you say, you have a post with 10 tips and you say the bonus offer is 3 additional tips and you can download them in exchange for your email address. This is super, super effective. I've seen 25% conversion rates from content upgrades. And, just briefly think about that, right? Out of every, 1 in 4 people who reads that blog post ends up on your mailing list. That is incredibly powerful. And that is the kind of conversion rate. So, and here's one of the reasons why this is amazing, right? 25% is the kind of conversion rate you usually would see on a dedicated squeeze page, right? A page that has no other purpose than getting an email address. And you're seeing it on a blog post, and this can be, a large, extensive blog post that has a good chance of ranking well in search results, right? And which means you can be getting floods of free traffic from Google that convert at 25%. That is an absolute game changer for list building, okay? And so, yeah, that is the power of relevance. And those are the 3 levels. And I recommend you do all 3 of those, right? You have a catch-all offer, you have some category-specific offers, and for your most trafficked posts, for your highest traffic posts, you have content upgrades. And that will increase the rate at which your list grows unbelievably, right? That's a huge thing to do. And again, the key here is just relevance. If you understand this principle, that is super powerful. If you understand the principle of making your offers more relevant. Now, the second thing in our 3 steps is testing, okay? Testing is super important. A big mistake in marketing, actually, not just in list building, in marketing in general, is thinking you already have all the answers, thinking you already know everything. Just going, I have an opt-in form, I'm done. The only solution to this is A/B testing, right? You want to be split testing your offers. You want to be testing one offer against another. Now, yeah, let me just briefly jump into a browser. Where's my browser? Here. Let me just briefly show you something here. If we go, we have some demo stuff here. This is Thrive Leads, by the way, and I'll talk a bit more about this later. just want to show you an example of what I mean with a test, right? So if I have an opt-in form, I create a clone of that opt-in form and I edit it. Actually, I don't know what this opt-in form looks like here. Here we go. Okay. So, and the idea is, what you want to do is you want to create some variation of your opt-in form, right? You've got an opt-in form. And by the way, I also want to say, during when the webinar is streaming, we had some connection issues before, and generally it makes the internet connection really slow. So as you can see here, I hope I can do some live demos, but I've had the problem before that it's so slow while the webinar is streaming that I can basically not use it. But okay, this is loaded now. So the idea is you have this opt-in form that shows, and you can do some things like you could replace this image, right? You could change this image with something else, or you could just change the copy, right? So you could change this text, make it read something else, or you try a completely different design, right? So I'm just gonna load a different template here. Let's see what we have. I'll try like a radically different design here, something like this. And so the idea is that you test these two forms against each other, right? And so maybe you'd have a form that looks like this, and then you'd have a form where you say, I want different button colors, so maybe make this yellow or green. Yeah, let's make it green. Or a different text on the button, right? So we'd go to the button here, and we have this text here. So, maybe we want to, yes, I want the thing. In this case, it goes on 2 lines. That's not very nice. But you get the idea, right? I could also change the dimensions, or maybe I'll just go, maybe go like this. And then change the image, right? So I'll select the image and I'd upload something else. I don't know if I have anything useful here, but yeah, I just choose a different image to show here. And then, so now I have 2 different versions of this form, right? And then I would simply test them against each other, right? So I have 2 different looking forms, and I test them against each other, and I just let the tool determine which one is converting better. But then the next question is, of course, if we go back to our slides, the next question is, well, what do I actually test, right? So what do I test? So the best things to test, let me just give you a quick rundown. Like we already talked about, the offer. That's the highest leverage thing you can test. That's the thing that will make the biggest difference. Then value propositions. Okay, value proposition is a way of presenting your offer, which means, and this is actually a super powerful hack you can use, because it means that you can almost sell, you can use one offer, so you've created one free report, but you're selling it as 2 different products to see what works better. So to give you an example, I have this product. One of my free products is basically a breakdown of how I created my first product and how I managed to launch it successfully, even though I didn't have any connections and no one knew me and so on. I didn't have a mailing list or anything. So it's basically a product that explains how I did this. Now, I can present this in different ways. The very same product, I can say, the product launch blueprint, how a complete newbie launched a product the first time. Okay, or it could be it could be framed as how to recruit affiliates for, how to get affiliates to promote your products when nobody knows you, because that's a big part of what's going on in this report. Or it could be, the secret strategy that I used to get more traffic to my blog, because one of the knock-on effects of doing that product launch was that I got a lot more traffic afterwards, right? So that would be 3 different ways of presenting 3 value propositions for the same product, which means I can do 3 radically different tests without having to create 3 different offers. So that's a very important thing to test. Then, like we saw, form types and placement. So, should I show this in a lightbox form? Should I show it in a screen filler? Should I show it in a ribbon? Should I load a lightbox form right away, or should I load it after 10 seconds or on exit intent or whatever, and see which of these works best? Then we have the copy. So the text in the form, that is, these 2 in terms of priority, copy can also make a big difference. And it also has a lot to do with value proposition. So whether this should be in third place on the list or in fourth, we could argue about that. Then we have different triggers, okay? So how is the form triggered? How is the form shown? And then we have the design itself. So the actual design, unless your design is absolutely horrible, testing different designs against each other usually won't make a massive difference. But these are all valuable things to test. And in terms of the potential payoff, this list is in order of what potentially gives you the best return on your time invested, right? But now I want to make this even more practical, right? And even more concrete for you. The next thing, step 3, that you can do right away is use the rapid implementation method, okay? Use the rapid implementation approach. So rapid implementation is actually the solution to one of the most common problems entrepreneurs have. One of the most common problems entrepreneurs have is like procrastination via perfectionism, where if someone says, okay, I want to build my list, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create like the perfect opt-in offer, and then I'm going to create the perfect opt-in form design, and I'm going to make the most amazing headline and the most amazing copy and so on. And then, so you start working on it, but then you go, you know what, this offer would be even better if I also added this other thing. So you start working on that, and then you think, you know what, I really should have a video as well, so I'm going to start making a video. And then you go, this opt-in form, I really need a nicer design for this, so I'm gonna redesign this, and the copy could be better. And then it's 5 months later and you still haven't published anything and nobody's on your list, right? And rapid implementation, and this is a very typical problem that entrepreneurs have, whether it's about building their list or creating and launching their product. I see this all the time. People are just always caught in this loop of trying to tweak and improve and so on without actually publishing stuff. And rapid implementation is the solution. So what we want to do with rapid implementation is we want to get stuff out as quickly as possible and then slowly improve over time, okay? And we want to look at the balance between the effort we put into something and the potential payoff we get out of it. So for list building specifically, this is what it looks like, okay? If we have the orange bar representing the amount of effort or time you have to invest, and the blue bar representing how high the potential payoff is, here's what you should do. The very first thing you do is you make an offer that's good enough. And this is very important, okay? This is very, very important. I'm not saying make a great offer. I'm saying make an offer that is good enough. In fact, if you're a perfectionist, I'm saying make an offer that's barely good enough. Make an offer that is almost embarrassingly bad, okay? Because the most important thing is that you get something out the door. The most important thing is you get something published. It doesn't have to be brilliant. You'll make it brilliant later, okay? Make something that's just about good enough. In fact, if you don't have any opt-in incentive yet, what I recommend is that you publish an opt-in form right away that says, sign up to get my newsletter. Like I said, that is the weakest offer you can make, right? That's the worst offer you can make. But it's better than no offer. It is better than not getting anyone on your mailing list. So while you're working on your good enough offer, on your good enough opt-in incentive, you already are slowly building your mailing list thanks to your subscribe to my newsletter opt-in form. Okay, so that's the first thing you do. Make a good enough offer and publish that. Step 2, as soon as you've published that, test the copy and or the design in that form. The reason I say that is because testing copy and design is super easy to do, especially copy, right? It's very easy to just tweak the headline and then test 2 or 3 different versions of that headline against each other. And it might not make a huge difference, but it can, right? I mean, the copy in a form, the copy on a page can make a big difference. So the time you need to invest for this is minimal. The potential payoff is large. So that's the next thing you do right away after you've published your form. Next thing you do is you start working on the targeting. You start working on relevance, right? So that means you can use the same offer, but you start testing different value propositions and showing different ways of presenting this offer to different segments on your list, on your website. Okay, so depending on which category someone's looking at, they will see a different version of your offer.
If you'd like to learn more about how to use paid traffic and analytics to scale your business, subscribe to the AdSkills channel so you'll be notified every time new content is released. If you'd like to learn more about the topic we just discussed, check out the related video we're posting right now.